What's up, guys? It's me, Pez Flips, back with another video of the balithoughts variety, and that's because it's been a while since I've done one like this, and I really do enjoy just yapping. So I am flipping the Andrew Myers Custom Aeon. In case you're interested, I do have an unboxing of that. Absolutely love this guy, but that's not why we are here today. We are here today to answer the question about going the distance. And what does that mean, to go the distance? That's just to suggest that with any hobby, there are periods of time that determine whether or not somebody will continue to flip, or, man, so many cars, so loud, or you just stop flipping. Do you continue or do you stop? And what is the differentiation, or at least what have I done to stay in this hobby, to keep flipping? First things first is that if you feel like you have to force yourself to stay in a hobby, then perhaps that hobby isn't for you. You know, it's supposed to be something that's fun and enjoyable, and ultimately at the base of doing something, it should be something that you want to do. Now, there will be times where you have ups and downs. I'm closing this window. Okay, one window closed. There goes the second. There are times where there are ups and downs where even I don't want to flip that day. And I think that it's okay to take breaks. And rather, I encourage you to take breaks every now and then, not only for, not trying to get burnout, but also the physical health of your fingers, because obviously doing repeat motions, if your sort of tricks involve, like if you're like me and I'm trying to learn a new trick, oftentimes I will just go over that trick over and over and over, and I will do some freestyle in between, but it will mostly involve just practicing that trick until I can get it down. And those repetitive motions, that is generally the behavior that causes tendinitis or other carpal tunnel, or like other injuries related to such a behavior. So I think that breaks are important, and that's one of the things that I've done to keep myself in this hobby, is understanding that when I do feel like I'm burnt out, understanding that it's okay to not flip for a little bit, but also, on the other hand, understand that, every time you do take a break, you are losing some amount of skill. Obviously, it depends on how long you are away from something, and like the longer you flipped, basically the bigger the floor you've brought up from. So if I am going to degrade in skill, if I stop, I'm still going to lose stuff, but I will lose proportionally less for how much time I've invested developing these muscle memories. It's like the whole adage, like riding a bike, it is muscle memory. So it's going to stay relatively within your mind, because, given the fact that you've, created these stronger neuronal pathways in your brain, they will be easier to access as time goes on. But another thing I think is really important for keeping in the hobby is tracking your progress. Now, this has to do with recording your flips. I don't think everyone records their flips. And personally, I think recording flips for me is one of the biggest factors in terms of keeping me in this hobby. And obviously I have a YouTube channel, so I'm more of a niche person in that regard, but you can also just post clips to your Instagram. I mean, there's the Reddit, the Balisong Reddit, and if you're a clone guy, there's the Balisong clone Reddit too. They have the Instagram homepage where if you tag them, they'll repost your clip in their stories, like if you have posted a clip as a story. And personally, that's a lot of stuff that I enjoy. I love sharing the music that I like listening to, and it kind of gives me an opportunity to flip something cool, put some music I enjoy over it, share the music, and share my clips with other people. And honestly, I'm sure that people who record their clips, they have moments where they will go back and look through their clips. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes I'll find myself walking down nostalgia lane, and I'll go through my old clips, and it's truly impressive to see the change in performance as you continue on in the hobby, because there is a thing called the hedonic treadmill, or like hedonicism, where it's like we as humans, we get used to things. So when you first start flipping, you see someone doing a fan and you think that looks so good, you know? And then once you learn how to do it, you're thinking, no, that looks good, whatever. And then as you continue to fan, the fan becomes just a fan. It doesn't have this special attribution to it because you've become used to it. I think being mindful of that psychological event of getting used to things is important, because a break also helps you step away from that, but also seeing your clips separate from all the mental distraction or not distraction, but all the mental focus that you're using to actually flip in the first place is in some ways subtracting your ability to actually appreciate the work that you're doing. And a clip kind of gives you that benefit, because you can go back and say, oh my God, I can't believe I was able to hit that trick or hit that series of tricks, that combo line, etc. I think that that is a very important and honestly one of the most enjoyable parts of the hobby for me, is finally, after like sitting there for 45 minutes trying to hit a line, getting that line and being able to share it with other people and, you know, in some ways garner artificial support for it, because I mean, it is just social media after all, but it is still like, you know, rewarding in terms of my own internal validation as well. But yeah, I think that that is a really significant aspect to continue to stay in the hobby. Another one I would say is having always at least one trick to work on. Just one trick in the bank where you can freestyle, and then every once in a while practice doing whatever trick it is. For me, it's that oximity fan, the oxy fan. Trying to have at least one thing that you are practicing on, because it gives you that forward growth, that direction. You have a goal, and having a goal is a motivator. And when you are successfully able to complete that goal, you get on camera or something like that, that is rewarding, and you should hold on to that feeling. Now, it's not going to be this thing where I'm like, oh my God, like you're not like overwhelmed by this sense of accomplishment. And I think that that is an important thing to note, is that personal accomplishment, that feeling of success, you have to hold on to that. You have to focus on that feeling and allow yourself to feel that feeling. At least for me, sometimes I find myself kind of like back to that hedonicism, you know, down talking my accomplishments, because that's what I expect rather than appreciating where I have come to. And I think it's important to, when you do recognize moments of success, whether it's in something as simple as flipping a knife between your fingers or other more important aspects of your life, it's easy to brush them off. And I think it's very important to allow yourself to feel accomplished, to give yourself those positive feelings. I don't think that's acting selfishly or narcissistically. I think that's acting healthily. That's allowing yourself to experience joy. And I think it's so easy to downplay our successes and overplay our failures. And like having that healthy mindset in this hobby is going to keep you in it. Another thing too is to realize that some tricks just take a long time for you to learn. Some people will learn a trick the second they pick it up. And sometimes it'll be a trick that you've been messing around with for 2 months and you haven't been able to pick it up. I've been trying to do the oxy fan for, about like 2 months. And granted, I haven't like sat down and given it enough attention in the past. And that's part of the reason why I took so long to learn it. It's because I was kind of neglecting learning the skill. But you know, when you initially pick something up, there is this perception that the difficulty is so high up. But understanding that there's multiple factors. How much sleep did you get? Did you eat well? Are you in a good mood? Like, there's so many different things that influence your performance, and that's going to change day to day. And if you don't get a trick down today, maybe tomorrow's the day. If you don't get it that tomorrow, maybe the next day. You know, having this forward-looking attitude where it's okay to not be able to succeed, and understand that trying something is more important than being able to do something. And that's a big one. That's a really big one. The last tip for me would be to have a bank, a vault of tricks that you can reference. Having a pool of tricks gives you more depth in your goals, because then once you finally find a new trick, you know, you can on that spot look for a new one, but having it readily available when you've kind of done the work for yourself in the past, I think really does help. Like, it makes it more fluid to transition between learning one trick to the next one. You know, anything to minimize what I would argue is the least engaging part, which is learning the new trick. Because I find like actually landing the trick is really, really satisfying. Anything to streamline that process to make it easier or more enjoyable is going to benefit you. And obviously that might be different on person-to-person basis, but just something that I think for me helps is having that big pool, that big bank of tricks. I have recommended in the past Oximity's Instagram page because they have a concept highlight. I think they might have 2 or 3 now of different tricks that they have either come up with or sourced through their experiences of flipping. And it is truly one of the best resources in terms of just simply seeing new things. Some things that I didn't even know were necessarily physically possible, and being able to see someone do that, then it's like, okay, if they can do it, I probably can too. Might take me a long time, but if I can record those things and learn how to learn movements from not a tutorial, that's a huge one. If you can screen record those things and have a catalog, that gets you going. I guess that's the last thing I'll say. A little bonus one is learn how to read slow-mos, or just learn how to read a screen recording and go frame by frame. What I'd like to do when I'm learning slow-mos, look at one finger, look at 2 fingers, and pay attention to where they're moving. Once you have those figured out, move on to the rest fingers. What are they doing? I feel like the first and the thumb in the middle are commonly used, and then you do have the pinky and the ring that are used as well, but it feels like these are the primary group and this is the secondary group. So when you're looking at the slow-mo, consider your primary group. Once you know where they're going, then you consider your secondary group. Once you have that all in order, it makes it much easier to continue to develop new tricks because you don't have to wait for someone on YouTube like me who might be really bad at explaining YouTube tricks or balisong tricks like me. And then you're like, well, what the heck? Why did I even subscribe to this guy? Which you would never ask, of course, because you just love watching my videos. But yeah, I think that is a skill that a lot of advanced flippers will tell you, because making a YouTube tutorial is something that takes time, and there are so many tricks out there that if you develop the skill, you can push past a lot of the majority of the audience, because not a lot of people are going to take that time to develop that skill. But if you do, you are rewarded. So anyways, that about sums it up for this. I've been yapping for 12 minutes already, so I'll just stop it there. But thank you as always for watching. I love when you comment, so if you have something to say, please do so. I like reading to your comments. If I have something I can add in a reply, I will try to. Anyways, it's been Pez Flips, and bye.